Okay, folks, I'm back again, and today we're going to take a look at a brand new game that just came in from Queen Games. This was one of the faster crowdfunding games that I've ever received. It's right up there with the Battle Dice as far as the speed that this was delivered. There is a little bit of controversy in this game in that this has been available on, I think it's Game Steward or some other online outfit that's been available there actually for a little while. And I don't know if you mail ordered it, if you'd be put on like a wait list or something like that. But it seemed like it went to at least some retailers before the backers. And but also they made no promise not to do that I'm aware of. So a little bit of controversy there in the comments and stuff, but that is what it is. It arrived in good shape. Just a little bit of packing material. Here's a look at the back of the box, if I can get it up there. So the game is called Dabba Walla. So what is a Dabba Walla? Well, it's kind of an interesting story, and I guess I started off looking for rules for this. But when I Googled Dabba Walla and really got into like finding out what this game was really about, it was a real rabbit hole, something completely fascinating, something completely different than I've seen anywhere else in the world. So in Mumbai, India especially, they deliver food on bicycles and on their head and on carts and things like that. And it's not like DoorDash food where there's a restaurant and they go to the restaurant, or maybe sometimes they do this, but it's not like restaurant food that's being delivered. It's home-cooked meals. So you'd have your significant other or your servant or whatever prepare you a lunch. So you leave for work. And I believe the reason is they have to leave for work so early in the morning that their food maybe wouldn't stay fresh. And apparently this has been a problem for over 100 years. Because the simple act of like taking your lunch to work, like we do so much here, would completely put these guys out of business. So they come by and they pick up these home-cooked meals, and they come in these little metal canisters that are called tiffins. In fact, a lot of the purpose of this game is going to be your ability to stack the tiffins and stuff and get points. Or these little chits that look like tiffins. And tiffins are little metal canteens. So they come by and they pick this stuff up in the morning. They take all this along with like everyone else on your block's lunch to the train station. They ride with that train to different locations, and teams of these Dabba Wallas in their little white uniforms and stuff. They gather, they distribute all these lunches, and then they take them out. And then I guess they have lunch themselves, and then they come back and get the empties and bring them back home. This is a service that can cost you, I think it said 600 to 800 RP, depending on where you live and the locations that they're going to. So for a small fee a month, you can have someone else bring your lunch to work with you. So it's still a homemade lunch. You're still packing your lunch, but someone else is bringing it. And that's what a Dabba Walla does. And what we do is pose for thumbnails and open boxes. So let's do that. This is one of those games that got a fair amount of attention when it came out. It'd be interesting to see if it gets the same amount of attention like moving forward. Seems like a lot of these games, boy, they get a lot of hype until they're delivered, and then no one talks about them but us poor schlubs that don't get advanced copies of things. All right, so we got a deck of cards here. We'll look at in a minute. We got some rule book, which we can glance at. It's got that printed smell that I love so much. All right, so we're taking a look at the book here. I've watched a couple of how to play videos. It's actually really, really simple. Oh, it looks like we've got a little bit of construction to do to build up the boards and stuff. So maybe we'll cover that. This is the whole story of the Dabba Walla. It's basically what I've outlined to you right here. I might be wrong on some stuff. I watched like at least 10 different videos on YouTube about it. In fact, I'm going to link my favorite video about Dabba Wallas down in the comments below. And maybe YouTube won't punish me for it. So got a little bit of stuff to construct here. And then they do a layout of the game. You do have an option for different tableaus you can use that you're going to try to fill out. So there'll be a little bit of variety in here. It's a real simple sort of polyomino system. It's got the second part of this game is kind of the hitch, I think, that makes it a little different from other ones I've seen. Where basically you've got to play these cards to negotiate what the tips will be for your different layers of food. Because you're going to stack this food up. And every layer that you, at the end of it, when you're unloading it, every layer is going to give you a different amount of tips and income. So it's interesting. All right, pretty short rule book. Lots of illustrations and demonstrations. Looking at 11 pages, but more than likely you'll be able to play this with just a few of these pages. All right, let's take a look inside here. So looking at the board, I'm seeing some damage. And I don't know if this is something that I need or not. Actually, that just looks like where it was punched out. So this kind of came unpunched. That damage probably isn't damaging anything important. Got some really thick pieces here. And these are all the pieces I saw being punched out and assembled into like the little polyomino holders. So I'll have to take a look at that. This might be a reboxing also, which I like doing for some reason. Even though I've gotten a couple of them wrong. If I do get something wrong, if I completely miss something and someone makes a note of it, I'll pin a comment down below with the correction. All right, we've got more of these boards. These are very thick boards. It looks like these are the different options for carrying the food. There's a dude like carrying it around on his head and on a little cart and a wheelbarrow and stuff. They're doing it all kinds of different ways. All right. Real pretty art. Artwork's really nice. All right, now we have, I'll do this. We got our sheets of polyominoes. These are all the different shapes. This is interesting the way they printed it too, on these kind of folding, almost like game board size pieces. But they punch out, so you'll be discarding some of this. But I've never seen them come like that, where they're like folded up and stuff. Interesting. Okay. Let's keep all that together for now. We got one last sheet, so a lot of punch out board. Some assembly required. And these are all the chies. You can put these chies out and they'll give you different bonuses on the back, little surprise bonuses and stuff. Okay. So I guess the thing to do maybe is I'm going to go, let's take a look at these cards. So here's the cards. And what you'll see is a type of polyomino at the top, which is what you play in the beginning. And this thing at the bottom, which will be the bids that you're making on that second half of the game where you're emptying your cart to get the tips and stuff. So you'll start building it up on the first part of the game with the top part of the card, and then you'll be selling them with the bottom part of the card. So that's a real cool way to dual use your cards. And of course all of these are different colors and shapes that you're going to have on offer to fill up your Dabba Walla cart. Okay. It looks like these are pretty much all the same with the bonus at the bottom, a different color at the top. Artwork's pretty neat. Actually, I kind of really like these little bits here. You'll see some of these cards have this little half chai right there. What you'll be able to do is when you lay these things down, if you get two of them that make a whole tea, then you get one of those chai tea tokens. And these cards appear to be a little different. I'm not sure what they do, so I'm going to keep these separate from these. All right, so I'm going to follow these instructions here in the beginning, assemble these, and then we'll be right back with a look at that. All right, so after about half an hour of punching, there was quite a bit of punching. Here's what the board looks like when it's all out and stuff. It is sort of assembled out of these other little side panels. These cards with the orders are going to fit right here. So that's what these little slots sort of indicate. The orders are going to go around like that. And that's why you have this little divot here. They also, of course, will go across the bottom. Once punched out, it has little standees for the different player colors. And these player colors are going to be going around the different locations and then getting the card from that location. That's kind of the way this is played. After you do all the stuff, after you stack up, it comes with a variety of these different shapes that you can work with in the game to determine, to stack up your polyominoes. These little ridges indicate the height that you're going to, and it did come with a bunch of individual player colors, so you could take and mark the height of your stacks of food. So after you go through this phase of gathering food and stacking it up, you're going to flip this board upside down. You flip the board upside down, and then you're going to score these things out. You'll notice when you're punching stuff out, you're going to have all these different shapes. This is what they're for. So at the end, you're going to be able to play cards to determine what the cost will be or what the payout will be for particular colors of Tiffins and stuff. I'll do a how to play, or at least do a playthrough with this pretty soon and explain this stuff more thoroughly. But in case you're curious, they do a good job of laying out what all the stuff does, what all the stuff is used for in the instruction manual. But just in case you wanted a little preview of that. Something else that's interesting about this is this comes off and just kind of goes in the box. These two things, and also this part here, turn into lids for the rest of the components. So the boxes, once you assemble the boxes and you put all the little the polyomino pieces in there, you do have to be particular, especially in the smallest box. This small box here that has the chai and the empty things and these little tickets, you've got to put them in just so, or that lid's not going to fit over the top of it. But these little sideboards and stuff, they also convert into lids that you're able to put over there. They even have like a little break on the side, like they're raised up slightly on the side over here, which helps this stay shut. I think that's pretty neat. So these things all have lids, so you'll be able to store them away and it'd be all right. Still kind of putting these together was a little bit is a little touch and go, because some of these things, punching them out, like I had a little bit of trouble with ripping. You had to be kind of careful on some of these things not to rip them. And I'm not saying that you should be able to just kind of rip things apart, but you do need to be careful, because you're going to be punching out a whole lot more cardboard than maybe you typically do in a board game. I believe these decorative sides are meant to go up. But yeah, but these all kind of lock in here. See how this kind of locks down? It uses those little existing notches to kind of keep these in place. This does that too. Pretty cool the way that works. It's even got another box here that's made to fit the cards. And it looks like it could take, let me do something quickly. Just going to put a little rubber band on here, a non-rot rubber band. Make it a little easier to lift them out. It does come with a little card box. and there's plenty of room in here for sleeves. So if you wanted to sleeve this thing, I believe it would still work out just fine. It actually had these other cards that I think are part of a different module. So I'm just going to keep them separate a little bit for now until I know what to do with them. I'll leave them in there. And this has the another little lid to keep it all in an orderly fashion. Very cool. It's funny, these lids make nice little decorative, the artwork makes a nice little decorative lid on the top of these. Pretty cool. Let's put it in the box and see how it does. They didn't really have any instructions for the reboxing part, I don't think anyway. So we're just going to kind of play it by ear, but this is looking, wow. It's pretty intuitive, actually. Not having to think too much about this at all. It just kind of all fits in there perfectly. Okay. We'll get these things going. Maybe split them into a couple of stacks. Then the only thing that we have loose are kind of these little player pieces and stuff. I'll probably get a bag, throw all these things in a bag, and then I'll go on top. It's going to leave a little bit of loose area, a lot of room for things to move around and stuff. So I might end up having to put some padding in here to keep it. Definitely not going to survive a tumble if I do my little tumble test on that. These things are going to be all over the place. But, you know, it is going to store away. And it'll probably not be too big a hassle to pull out and play. Pull that out. I guess the only thing I maybe would be a little concerned about is these boards being pulled apart and put back together and stuff a lot. Cardboard doesn't like that. Now, I've yet to have a game where I've just played it so much that I've worn out little components like that, but I always want to mention anytime these things fit together, especially if every game you're going to be assembling it and disassembling it halfway through to do the scoring part at the end, you know. Sometimes these little tabs and stuff can take a lot of abuse. That's a neat way to store this game. It looks like it's going to make it real easy to pull it out and set up without having to sort out these polyominoes every time. They're going to just be in here ready to go. I like that. And I really appreciate when they put the forethought into it. It's something kind of unique that you don't see very often. I like to pull apart unique games. I buy a lot of games that are just a little bit off the wall. And if you'd like to see more of that and see me unboxing them especially, there's a whole playlist of unboxings right here. Over here's a playlist of some other stuff that I think you might like. And until next time, enjoy your games, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.